multiple reasons. One, so you get to know who we are as a company and what we're trying to accomplish, what we want for our agents, ourselves, our company. But also to get you thinking about what your mission statement is for your business, what your vision statements are. I've shared with you guys, any number of y'all over the last week or two, that when you're kind of forced to sit down and simplify what it is that you want to do and be in your business, you'll be surprised how much clarity that's going to bring to you when you have to kind of drill it down to just a sentence or two. So what we are hoping to accomplish, our mission at the heart of everything that we do, is we want to be able to empower our agents and create those types of opportunities for you guys to live your version of an abundant life, whatever that may be. Whether you have big goals or small goals, it doesn't matter to us. We just want to help you get there. And so in order for us to be able to empower you, and in order for us to be able to create these opportunities for you guys, we want to be the home for ethical and high-minded agents and people who are motivated and committed not only to achieving what they want professionally, but also personally. I love that. And I love that that's intentionally written that way, because we look at the whole person. We want all of you to feel as good as when you do something in your business or if you accomplish something on a personal level. I love that. And so sort of along the same train of thought, we have to look at our values as well. And again, these are values on a company level. So these are those principles that we hope to interject into our business, or those guiding lights, for another way to say it, that kind of guide our decision making and sort of what we stand firm on. So again, ask yourself, what are the values that are present in your business? What is it that you want to incorporate into your business? And of course, we have to look at the beliefs. We talked a lot about beliefs over the last week or so with the perspectives class, and this is really no different. And we do this and we share the beliefs because beliefs shape every decision that we make, whether we're aware of it or not. And so those decisions then determine how we act, and how we act turns into our habits. And so it's extremely important to sort of train your mind to think in certain terms in the way that you approach your business, in the way that you view your business. Because I think whenever you can incorporate these beliefs, what you'll find is they don't just apply to your business. You can easily apply these to any relationship that you have outside of your business, or any other area of your life, whether it's your family, your marriage, your friendships, whatever the case. It's very interesting how these kind of show up time and time again. So for today, the one that's in blue is going to be the one that's most relevant, and that is, we believe we reap what we sow. And I feel like this is one of the beliefs that comes up quite a bit in our staff meetings. Rita, it actually may have been her belief this week, but sometimes where we live, it's sort of like taken in a negative way, but really what we're talking about is what you reap is exactly what you sow, meaning the effort that you put into something. The more intentional you are with the way that you nurture these relationships, the more fruit you're going to see, the more harvest is going to happen. So reaping what you sow is a good thing. So what we're going to talk about today is how important having a database can be in your business, and then how to build it to where you can generate those sustainable referrals, not just the one and done, or not just on a temporary basis, but long term. Okay, so let's start by first defining what the heck is a database. I think when I heard database the first time, I automatically kind of default to technology, because that's what we're just inundated with all the time. But for our purposes today, I want you guys really to kind of make the distinction that what we're talking about when we say database is a relational asset in your business. It is a list of relationships, nothing more. So this includes the relationships that you already have and those that you're going to create moving forward. These are the number one asset in your business. And so the goal is to be able to continuously communicate your professional character and your competence to these relationships that you have, but also be able to ask for those referrals. Okay. So you can think of it this way. Imagine that your business is operating the same way as what a garden would. And so there are really kind of 3 key elements that we look at to reaping and sowing. All right. So 3 components. You have your soil, right? That's where everything starts. You have the seeds. Okay. So seeds go into the soil, and then you have the harvest. So those are really the 3 basic components of a garden or a farm. And so think of your database as being the same thing as your soil. Okay. So if your soil isn't very good, or if it's not prepared well, or if it's not given any sort of attention from you, then the seeds don't matter. It wouldn't matter if you planted 1,000 seeds if the soil isn't any good. They will not do what they're supposed to do. Make sense? Okay. Even if you don't have a green thumb, this should make some sense to you guys. Okay, so having, yes, it really is. So having that fertile soil can really make all the difference, okay? Now, so since there's 3 elements to the database, there's also 3 states of a database. So how it's performing, think of it that way. And the first one is the recession. So this is probably the easiest to do, especially with how busy we are, right? So this is where we start to lose contact with people. Maybe they move out of town, a family member or a friend now becomes a realtor, and they think, oh gosh, they have some sort of obligation that they have to use that person rather than use you again, or whatever the case may be. So that's what we mean when we talk about the recession of a database. That's when contacts that were previously a part of your list are no longer in touch with you, or you're no longer in touch with them. The other state that a database could be in is what we would call stagnation. So this is where you're sort of in between expanding it and then being in that recession. So it's sort of like treading water between those 2. So nothing's really doing anything. It's just kind of staying exactly where it is. This is another way to say this is kind of a plateau. So maybe you did the same business this year as you did last year, and you're kind of confused as to where to go from here, how to grow it. Then, of course, there's expansion. So this is how your database grows authentically and organically, okay, based on the relationships you've already built and where those relationships are going to lead to. Make sense? Yay. Okay, good. Now, let's talk about the soil a little bit more. You guys have probably heard all about the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your results are going to come from 20% of your people. It really kind of works that way in all facets of life, if you really take a look at it. So I think that's even more important to talk about this soil. We said this at the very beginning, but it truly is the lifeblood of your harvest. And it's the foundation for those referrals. So the more you nurture that soil, the more impact the seeds are going to have, and the better harvest, the better fruits from your labor, right? So we're going to talk about how important it is to be able to focus in on those basics, like having a thorough list of your relationships, and where that can lead. So the foundation then of referrals, right? It's so important to constantly be in the frame of mind to where you're trying to actively generate leads, right? Because why? More leads equal what? More sales. And more sales equal what? More money. And then more money equals what? The best of all?
More choice.
More choice. So choice. And that's what we talk about when we talk about, an abundant life. It's that sweet intersection between having as much time as you want and need to do the things that you want to do with people that you want to do it with, but then also having enough money to do those things that you want to do, and to take those trips that you want to take, and to buy the car that you want to buy. So it's that intersection of that perfect balance between enough time and enough money, which also means more choice. So that's what we talk about a lot. If you guys have participated in the classes and you're familiar with this concept. So interestingly, research also shows that 85%, that's a big number, okay? 85% of your financial success, so how we're going to do, is due to your skills in your personality, meaning your ability to be able to communicate, your ability to negotiate, and your ability to lead. Now, only 15% of that can be attributed to technology. And those numbers came straight from the Carnegie Institute of Technology, which is hilarious to me. But it's so, so true. 85% of your success overall is directly linked to how well you keep your relationships moving forward and how well you're able to interact with those people who are on your list. Okay. Okay, so then let's continue on expanding on this. Agree or disagree? Quality is better than quantity. Agree? Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. So what's good to know as it relates to our business in real estate is that the quality of a lead in this business is directly related to the source in which it comes from. I'll say it again because this is like a, okay? The quality of a lead in our business is directly related to the source of which it comes from. There is no better source than a referral from somebody who's already had the opportunity to work with you and experience what a working, productive relationship with you is like, okay? Especially when it's somebody on your list that's maybe that your core group, that advocate, that A-level person. And we're going to talk about those too. But do you guys agree with that? And if you do, I'd love to hear your thoughts, because in our world, especially in 2018, we heard so much about internet leads and people spending so much money every month on investing in these lead generation softwares and companies, and then not really ever seeing the benefit from that, or maybe getting one or two, but then they never lead anywhere. So I think this is even more relevant to talk about today in terms of how a lead is a real lead and how a lead is not really a lead, right? What are y'all's thoughts on how quality is a lot better than quantity? Dive right in.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Well, I did the Zillow thing and got nothing. I did it for a whole year, and I had to pay to get out of the contract when they should have paid me, and got nothing. And just in the past 2 days, I've gotten 2 listings off of referrals.
Bam. I love that.
Yeah. Rita, yay! It's true. I mean, I think what you said is correct. I mean, there's nothing better than a referral, because that means you did that good of a job that they're saying, hey, call her.
Right.
She did awesome for us. She's going to do,
I love that. Congratulations.
Yay. Here's Michelle.
Yay. Awesome. I love this little thing in the middle here where it says aim to cultivate a culture of referrals. And I love that so much. It's so simple when we talk about it, but really it's a direct reflection of how well or how much of an effort that you make consistently to touch base with the people in your network. What you do that makes them feel special, how often you interact with them, meaningfully interact with them. And I love this too. This speaks directly to quality better than quantity. 1 homer is better than 2 doubles, hands down, right? So I love it. That's why the baseball is there. And who doesn't love baseball? Okay, so let's keep going. Foundation of referrals, the goal of relationships. You guys, I think this is sort of a mindset shift as well. Make building relationships your business, right? So this is going to speak directly to the goal for those that you have in your list of relationships. So 1, you want to make sure that everybody on your relationship list, first of all, they know who you are first name basis. Secondly, they need to know what you do. I think whenever we have like a career change or something monumental happens in our lives, I think it's really easy to assume that everybody that we know knows about it because it's on social media or someone told us about it. But honestly, that is not the case. So oftentimes, you may be thinking, oh, I didn't know that you were working for so-and-so. I didn't know that you were doing this. We think that people pay attention and we think that they know, but they don't. So it's up to us to make sure that we can communicate that. And then lastly, you want them to trust you. Trust goes a long way at keeping a relationship very solid and on very firm ground. And when you can consistently provide them with solutions and helping them as more of a resource with things that they may need, whether or not they're real estate related, is going to go a long way. Somebody that they can lean on when they need help, or even if they don't, maybe they just need advice. That goes a long way at keeping that trust high where it should be. Now, remember, your database is not just a list of contacts. So when you're going through building your list, expanding on your list, don't just throw everybody on there. Think about the people. I think you can start that way. I think it's okay to start that way, but you want to make sure that you're throwing people on there who, if you picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Charlie, how's it going?" that person would say, "Hey, I'm doing good, Crystal. How are you?" You need to think about, do they know who you are? And that is kind of a good way to start. Okay. Now, what I love about talking about this is that it doesn't matter if you're brand new to the business, and it doesn't matter if you're somebody with a lot of experience. If you don't have a database, then you don't have a business. So step one, make a list of everybody that you know. Start with your friends, your family, people that you've worked with in previous jobs, people that you interact with daily. Maybe it's somebody who does your nails, or somebody who does your hair that you've gone to forever. Maybe it's your family doctor. Maybe it's your dentist. Which, side note, you guys, I conquered my fear. I went to the dentist yesterday. I was a nervous wreck. I had hives, the whole 9 yards. I survived. So no, y'all, I'm so scared of it. Like, that's probably one of my top 3 that I'm just scared of it. I don't like it.
Me too.
Okay, I'm not alone. That makes me feel a lot better.
I hate them.
Just talking about it, I get like red and splotchy. And the girl who's my dentist is a sorority sister of mine. I love her. I trust her with every tooth in my head, but it's still very scary. So think about those types of people that maybe you were in clubs or organizations with, or people who have helped you through something, or maybe people you can call on just when you need to talk. These are the people that you want to add onto that list. So that's a good place to start. So ask yourself, where are other relationships that you already have? Maybe people that you've gone to church with. Maybe it's different people that are like kind of on the periphery of organizations that you're involved in with your kids. People that you see in the grocery store and you're like, "Oh, hey, how's it going, so-and-so?" But you wouldn't really think about it in like a relationship working aspect. Those are the people that you want to kind of plug into your list. And your goal is you want to try to reach 100. And when we say 100, these are the people who know you, they love you, they would never dream of doing business with anybody else but you, and they wouldn't have anybody that they know dream of doing business with anybody but you. These are what we call the advocates. Yes, these are your besties. These are the people who would fight tooth and nail for you no matter what. So this is the goal. You want to aim for 100 solid core people as a starting point. And so in your email inbox, you guys should have the sheet that I'm talking about on this slide. It's, I think, over 100 ways to jog your memory, to add people in that maybe you can't think of off the top of your head. As I shared earlier, I did this week. It was super helpful. I didn't even, like, the person who like gives my dog a haircut, I didn't even think about that person, but I see them every 3 months. You know, the baby's pediatrician, the nurses who intake, I mean, it's just wonderful, a good place to start. So if that has not arrived in your inbox, or if you do not have it by the time that the class is over, please let me know. That way I can get it to you. You know, I thought that I had a good list of like 150 people, because I think about like my Christmas cards and things like that. When I filled out the sheet, I was up to like 280, 285. So it really is crazy when you put it on paper how big it can go. So please do that, because I think you'll be able to add a lot of people that you didn't think about before. Yes, makes you be intentional with those people. You get a gold star. Okay, so let's talk about why 100 is the magic number. So 100 is really good because it's what I would call sort of ideal for your database, at least at the beginning, because it gives you enough people to get some really good momentum going, but it's not too big to where it can't be maintained. And you can't give those people the same amount of attention regularly, okay? Now, keep in mind, though, that this number will fluctuate as you add or remove people, but it's a really good baseline to kind of start for at the beginning. Brian Buffini just rolled out a program, and it's called the Pathway to Mastery. And the very first module, which was last week, was the Law of the Harvest, which is what inspired a lot of this. It's really good timing. And he was telling me that he was coaching this husband and wife team. I think they were out of like Florida or something. Husband and wife team. And he said, you know, tell me about the people in your database. They're like, oh, our database is awesome. We have 445 people in it. And he was like, cool. So what I'd like for you to do now is to take that list and then sort them and qualify them on, and we're going to talk about the different levels on how to sort and qualify them. And then tell me how many that you really end up with. Y'all, they ended up with like 40 people out of 444 that they really felt like knew them, trusted them, knew what they did, that kind of thing. And so I think when they had that original list of like 440 or whatever it was, they did, I think, 13 or 14 transactions. When they narrowed it down and ended up with 40, they more than doubled their transactions the next year because they were able to go deep on those people. They were able to show them and shower them with attention throughout the course of the year, and it absolutely paid off in the form of the transactions because it was strictly referral based. So quality, right? Okay, so here's a couple of other ways that are not on the sheet that I sent on ways to build your database. So think of your family, your friends. Go all the way back to those high school friends, those college friends, sports, recreation, your hobbies, places of interest. Maybe it's people that you used to work with in a past life. Maybe it's your business associates, and think wide on those business associates. Your vendor list, holy cow. Don't just think about the people who you call that do the work. Think about also the people who are scheduling these jobs, right? The people who really are kind of working in the background, who are the rock stars behind these awesome vendors, okay? Current clients, your past clients, your neighbors. That's always a good place to start. Your bartender. But seriously, and y'all, if you would talk to my husband, then you would understand bartenders are legit people. They know a lot of people. And so Eric, I didn't know what to think of it. Like anytime we'd go out, the bartender would be like, hey, Eric. And I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'm just going to say it's a good thing. But the point is they know a lot of people. And they're in a good position to talk about other people as well, in a good way, or maybe not. Hairstylist, for sure. Okay, so let's look at a few more of these. Your social media. I get asked all the time, what about social media leads? You know, like you guys will post your listings or something real estate related and people tag them all the time. Are those people that should be put on your list? Maybe, maybe not. Again, you want to kind of ask the questions internally when you're looking at each person in your list. Do they know me? Do they know what I do? Do they trust me? Do I trust them? And then go from there. And I think another good question to ask is, do they have the potential to really become an advocate for me and my business? Those people who know me, love me, would not do business with anyone but me, and then go out there and sing my praises to everybody else. Okay. Businesses that maybe you go to all the time. Maybe you go to HEB all the time and you know the guy that works behind the cheese counter and he's really, really nice. Maybe you add him onto your list. Take a look at your holiday mailing list. Yeah.
So the cheese counter lady, do you go up and ask her like, hey, can I get your email and phone number? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm thinking of asking about, I mean, like, when I ask my butcher, can I have a side of meat and your number?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's gonna
Side
but I
of
would
meat or number.
Yeah.
I think you do. I think you do. If you've got that relationship there, or if you feel like it's something that can be nurtured, to take it a little bit further.
I feel like I keep lately, since I've started doing your classes, reciting to myself, there's no growth without discomfort.
That's right, sister. That is right.
I hear you
That's
in
right.
my head. You're like,
Maybe it's the first time you go, strike up a conversation. The next time you go,
Yeah.
add it a little further. The next
Yeah.
time,
my
towards
husband
the
uses a lot of beef.
She's like, my husband gets a lot of beef. That's hilarious.
Mhm.
Yeah, over there. And
For sure.
Can I get a bling one like hers?
I'll let you wear mine.
They don't
So that is an excellent point. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So they're talking about, you guys on Zoom, if you had trouble hearing Tracy, she's saying that name tags really go a long way too. So she would go to Subway quite a bit, pretty regularly, to get something healthy for lunch, and she would always have her name tag. And she said it spurs a lot of conversation. And then Sherry said hers has bling around it, and so that's also a good way to kind of start that conversation. Blair, Charlie's wife, will put on her blue Remax 1 t-shirt and walk around HEB for an hour. Literally.
Just for,
Well, she probably needs like a few things, but she goes, yeah, but she goes and she's very, very intentional about what she's going to wear. And she wears that Remax blue t-shirt. And inevitably people are like, oh, so do you sell real estate? And she's like, no, but I know a lot of people who do, you know.
I know, I thought about
So-
making shirts for the gym, but I've got to start going to the gym.
Kristen,
Yes.
on the point about do I just ask for their email, I feel like social media is easier too. Like, hey, are you on Facebook? And people are like, oh yeah, let's connect, and because they want to know about your life
Yeah.
as much as you want to get in on their life too. So that I always feel like that's easier to connect with them via Facebook and start that connection, start that relationship.
Yeah. I love that. That's a great point. Great point. Plus, I think we're all so good at like tracking people down online too. It's sort of, it's less intimidating that way too, in a lot of different ways for them and for you, you know? So cool. I love that. That's a great point. Maybe it's, let's see here. Ooh, a dry cleaner is a good one. The person who does your nails. Maybe it's a server. Maybe you guys have a favorite restaurant and this server is just the bomb and you love them. I would also challenge you to even think, would they make a really great real estate agent? And if they do, give them our number. So it goes so many different directions all the time. It could be your doctor, anybody that you appreciate, that you feel like does a really great job. Anyway, so on and so forth. All of these are good ways to kind of jog your memory in addition to the sheet that I sent out. Now, continually working to add people to the database is awesome. And that's what you want to do as authentically and organically as possible. Meaning through the relationships, spurring new relationships, generating new relationships from those that you already have. That's what I mean by authentically and organically versus going out and paying for them, right? But what I would also love for you guys to think about doing is to sort the people on your list and qualify them, okay? So let's talk about that in just a second. What we're also going to talk about is another way to build a database. Think about those conventional methods, right? So the open houses that everybody's like, I don't want to do those open houses, but think about it. Think about it in a relational way. So if the idea is to hold a house open for another agent who maybe doesn't want to, it's a really good way to generate leads. And at the very end of the day, just meet people that you wouldn't have ordinarily met otherwise. It provides a value to to the seller, no matter what. And it allows you to kind of interject yourself in the marketplace. If you didn't have an opportunity of your own to do so, or if you just wanted to get out there more. And hopefully you'll meet some good people who have an interest in that neighborhood or one that's similar. So I think when you think about it from a relational aspect, that is a good place to start as well. Another conventional method, of course, the sign calls. Having a sign in the yard is still one of the best ways to find a buyer. And then finally, social media. Little side note with social media, you shouldn't aim for social media to replace the way that you grow the relationship, but absolutely use it to enhance the relationship and enhance the way that you can kind of make those connections. And you could use it as a gateway, really, to further connect face-to-face with those people, like Rita was saying. So I think that it serves a really good purpose. I just hate when I see people let that replace the time that you could be spending with the actual person, or, you know, well, I liked your status 100 times. Liking somebody's status is not the same as picking up the phone and talking to them for 15 minutes. So you guys agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Even though liking it is great, I'm just saying, take it a step further. Don't let that be the only way that you choose to interact. Okay, some other things. So leveraging those vendor relationships. So who are your preferred vendors? Everybody has their own list. The company has its own list, but everybody has their own set of people that they go to over and over again. And this is great because there's really nothing better than getting a lead from another high quality service provider. I think that's awesome. So a good way to kind of fill in the blank is look at where the gaps are in your database that you can send referrals to, right? But also that you can add into that your list that you can take care of and then ask for the referral for your business. So who is it that you take care of that you refer to regularly? And are they in a position where they can kind of refer back to you in the event that it kind of moves in that direction, or even if it doesn't? So your lenders, other agents, the title reps, the title, like the, not just the people who are handling files, but who are the people on the periphery again, right? So home inspectors, the appraisers, maybe attorneys, if anybody's working with any types of attorneys. Ooh, pest control. I never think about pest control, but that's a good one. Photographers, financial advisors, all of these types of people who stage homes, people who clean them. Ooh, your handyman, which is like gold. The person who kind of makes small repairs for you, painters, and so on and so forth. So this is, again, a few other things to think about when you're adding people onto your list. And then what you want to do, I don't care if you're using a CRM or if you strictly have an Excel file. What is the most important thing is that you get all of your people's contact information in one place, that you can manage it and that you can continue to edit and add to it and refine it over time. CRMs are great though. Booge will be here this summer. It's currently being tested. Charlie is a tester in our office and Charity is a tester in our office. I am so excited. It's going to completely take the place of what Lead Street was doing in terms of the campaigns and staying in touch with your contacts. This is going to be very intuitive, very easy to use. So it's going to be awesome. The good news is that it's a Remax product. So I think like right now, when I say it's being tested, the feedback that's coming from the agents around the country is what they're putting into place as they're still developing the product, which is so great. So it's being developed by agents for agents. Now, there's still a bunch of really good ones out there in terms of CRMs that you can use. I will say I don't think it hurts to put them all in an Excel file because Excel is universally accepted. And generally, that's the quickest way to upload all of them into whichever software you're choosing to use. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about sorting them and qualifying. So I think absolutely trust your gut first. What your instincts are whenever you come to a certain name on that list. Use your gut instinct, but take a look at these different categories. So those A+ people, those are the people who have sent you multiple referrals. These are those besties. Those are your advocates. They know you, they love you, they would not do business with anybody but you, and they won't allow anyone that they know to do business with anybody but you.
I don't know if this is important, but like if you have a husband and wife, like say that cousin and her spouse, and they both ride Heartbeat, are you putting them both separately or anything?
I would list them individually because they're going to know their own spheres. Exactly. They're going to know their own kind of circles as well. Okay, so then the A people, those are people who have sent you a referral in the past and people who are most likely to refer you when they're presented with that opportunity. Okay. The B people, these are people who would refer you if you asked and you showed them how to do it or you told them how to do it. Okay, so these are the people who are like, okay, sure. So how do I do that? What does that mean? The C people, people who might refer you in the future. The D people, people who you don't wish to market your service to. These are a-holes. These are people who have been really ugly to you in the past that you maybe have worked with that you know is not going to result in a win-win relationship. Or maybe people who have moved completely away. Maybe people who maybe passed away. I mean, people that you just need to kind of remove from your list. And then the O stands for online. So these are those online relationships that you have. And again, you would treat them the same way. How do they kind of fit in on this list? Does this make sense for you guys? Can you
Yeah.
see value in kind of figuring out who your top tier group is and being able to identify who your core group could be? Yeah. You can, I don't know that I'd recommend it. Stacy's like, can you threaten them that you're going to bump them to B status if they don't help you out? And I'm like, well, okay. Whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay. And you can qualify. So we're going to sort, but then how do we qualify? This is another Buffini tip. This is the Mayor Campaign Dialogue. Anybody familiar with it? Anybody done Buffini? Anyone? Yeah. Okay. Okay, Mayor Campaign. So this is going to be able to sort of direct your resources, your energy, your focus into those key relationships, the advocates, the core group, the keys in the contact, but also asking the question. And that question is, oh, by the way, if you're buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, am I the person that you'd refer them to? Simple question. And it's a yes or no. Yes, those people are great. No. Okay. Now you know. Yeah. And if you're bold like Tracy Burgett, you can ask the question why. Or you can focus on your yeses and focus on those who are like, well, yeah, but my sister is a real estate agent or whatever. Don't count those people out completely. I think those are more like your A's and B's, maybe not an A+, but an A and B, who tells you yes, but they have a hesitation, or yes, but I think there's value in those people too. The goal here is to figure out who's your A+, who's your core group. Okay. Anybody using any kind of similar language? Arcana, you're pretty bold. You got A's and B's. So that's how you're sorting and qualifying then.
Yeah, I know it's pre-planned activities to do throughout the year, but A's are gonna get everything.
Mm-hmm.
B's will get all that minus the extra personal stuff or stuff that's required more time.
Mm-hmm.
C's will get like general real stuff and
Okay.
it takes no time.
Okay. So he's saying A's, he does A's and B's. Okay. John said that his A's get everything, all like events, the things he does throughout the year that are extra personal, extra special. The B's are going to get most of that, but not as personal, not as many things throughout the year. The C's are kind of like the drip campaigns, the automated communication, still touching them, just not that personal, very like pop by, warm type of thing. And then
There's no D's.
no D's.
Just F's.
He said there's no D's, but there are F's, and that means fired.
End of year stuff, I deliver cakes by hand.
He delivers cakes by hand at the end of the year to his A's.
What brings someone from a B to an A? What's the qualifier?
John, the question is what can take somebody, what's the qualifier from a B to an A?
If they start referring more frequently without your coaching.
Start referring more frequently without the prompt, without the coaching.
Okay.
I think to get them there, you can start by incentivize.
He said, you can show them, but you can also incentivize them to refer as well.
Yes, absolutely.
He said not necessarily cash or prizes.
Not the result. If you get a referral, no matter what the outcome is, even if, like I said, they can get qualified.
Mm-hmm.
And we're no $5 ice cream.
He's saying regardless of if the referral actually makes, even if the person that they referred to him doesn't qualify, he still sends that person who referred a thank you note and like a $5 ice cream gift card. So that's the way that he keeps that relationship strong as well.
Yeah, that's good.
This year I had delivered toffee, box of 2-pound box of toffee
Okay.
to some vendors, my A clients.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Okay.
took
Sherry
2
said
days.
she
Took
delivered a
2
box
days
of
to do
toffee
it, but I
to her
hand
A's.
delivered.
That's
You make
great.
the
Hand
toffee?
delivered.
No, one of my clients gave me some toffee and it was over Renfrey's favorites. So I Googled it and it came in a little Christmas box with a bow on top.
Cute.
And then I put little thank you cards on it and I literally went out for 2 days and hand delivered everything.
That's awesome.
That stuff goes a long way.
It goes a long
Yeah,
way.
they're saying that goes a very long way in the community. Yeah,
Agreed.
I actually saw John when he was gathering all of his cake Like, he wasn't kidding. And they were beautifully done by Rayo's, just these precious little round cakes, like about that big, in their own boxes. I bet your car smelled amazing.
Oh, yeah. That's good. I like food during the holidays.
Food-driven holidays.
Or they're going to their families, but they have them come over and bring it. Like, where'd you get this cake?
He has a good point. He said he really likes the food-driven holidays because it's very likely that they're spending a lot of time with family, and they're like, ooh, you know, they maybe bring the cake, and the family's like, where'd you get that cake? It's beautiful. And then it just spurs those conversations off of that as well.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Joe Bear's cake. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about you guys on Zoom? Are y'all doing any fun stuff like that for your A group, or maybe your Bs, or maybe all of the above?
I don't have a group.
She's gonna make her database.
Got to make that database.
Yeah.
That's good.
We have agents that do pies at the holidays. A group, I know I have one agent who has a really good A group of people, and she makes the point of taking them to lunch and like doing actual sit down. We're gonna have coffee, we're gonna have lunch at least once a quarter, you know, that kind of a thing, to make sure she's keeping that relationship there. So
I love that. I was going to ask you, like, how is she keeping up with the frequency of that? She's got an agent who makes a point to sit down, go to lunch with those A people on her list at least once a quarter. So is that just part of, like, is she calendaring that at the start of each quarter, or how does that?
I don't think she is, although she's a big spreadsheet person, so I will check on that. I think it's just, you know, that's her core group.
Yeah.
And so I think that she knows, like, I haven't done that with that person or with, you know, whoever it is in a regular amount of time. So
How big is your core group?
I would say probably 30 to 40.
30 to 40. Okay. Yeah. So that's very manageable. Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. I think you can get so much more, not just business wise, but just in the relationship, by spending an hour with someone versus just constantly sending them stuff or emailing them or whatever the case may be. Nothing beats that face-to-face interaction. Nothing is better than that.
Right.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that for her. Okay. So if they tell you, you know, yes, perfect, wonderful, those are the good people. If they tell you, well, what is that really, you know, I would like to, but I don't really know. So this is some other dialogue. You know, I'd like to be that person for you, no matter what. I really want to be that person. So every month, what I like to do is I send out helpful information on topics like how to improve your credit score, how to protect yourself from identity theft, stuff like that. So does that sound like something that you'd like to receive? So that's a good way to sort of gauge them a little bit more, a little bit further, take it a step further. And at the end of the day, I mean, at the very least, you're engaging them in a conversation. So you can still, regardless of what their response is going to be on if you would be that person they'd refer to, it still keeps that conversation going. Okay, so then step 7, cultivate that database like you would a garden. Okay, so plant the seeds every day. And we talk about that, like those small actions that we incorporate, which is, you know, I think Darla, you and I had that conversation right before Christmas. You know, it starts with knowing who are your relationships. And once you have that list, it then becomes very manageable and very easy to incorporate that as part of your daily outreach, your daily routine, being able to connect with them. Like, okay, today I'm going to take 5, I'm going to take 10, I'm going to take 5. That way you can touch them regularly and pick up the phone and make sure that they're all getting the same amount of attention from you consistently. Okay. So plant the seeds and expand it. And you can do this, again, by picking that daily target goal of however many new relationships that you want to add into your garden. And the goal here, too, is you want to be or kind of create what we would call a critical mass. And so this is a really fancy way of saying you want to be the go-to. You know, when you guys think about tissues, what do you think of? Kleenex. When you think about a copier, you think about a Xerox. When you think about coffee, I think about Starbucks. Whatever the case may be, that's when somebody thinks about real estate, your name should pop up first. And that's the goal. Whenever you're kind of structuring and expanding this database. So it's not just filling it up with people. It's not just adding names to the list. It's it's people who you feel like are people that you should be investing in as well, but also people that can potentially turn into those advocates, or maybe they already are. Okay. Okay. So what resonated with you guys today? What stood out? What were your ahas, your light bulb moments? Cake. Tracy says cake.
Yeah.
They're telling John to add them to his A list so they can.
Get cake.
Mhm. Anything else other than cake?
Sorting. I mean,
Sorting.
I'm trying, you know, worked hard this year on just relationships in general, but I actually put all that in and sorted it and whatever. And so I guess that upcoming year.
Yeah.
Just always thought you're that. The previous months, you know, and of course, when we first got into real estate, they said, okay, you gotta make it. You know, everybody, agent, you know, you just think of that as your, that's how you are.
And for me, getting comfortable enough to have that conversation, to ask them to kind of be an advocate, because you automatically assume when you know somebody that, well,
That they'll
I'm
just
gonna
give
be
you
sweet to
everything.
them and they're gonna tell, you know, so.
Yeah.
Having that, because it's kind of uncomfortable to have that, and even if it shouldn't be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. That's a good point. Really good point.
But there's no growth without discomfort.
That's it. That's it. That's it. What about you guys over here? What are y'all thinking? 'Cause Candace, you how long?
Yeah, that was my weakness, is my database.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very good about, Christmas is my time. That's,
Yeah.
you know, like with it's just a little thing of cookies that I go give them something and show my face and break my card.
Good.
And visit and say hi, but keeping my contacts
Yeah.
all together is
Good.
I don't do that.
Good. Yeah. And even if it starts by writing them down on a sheet like this and then migrating them into an Excel file, because again, Excel can be uploaded anywhere. So at least you'll have it, and it's something that they're all together and you can make notes, you can add, you can remove very easily and get a good kind of snapshot of what your list looks like too.
About how many people do you do?
I only do 10. I get 4 dozen or something, and I put them in little, and it's not just my clients. I do tile companies and just to say thank you. But
She thanks her clients as well as her vendors.
yeah,
You know, another thing you and John.
it's not a lot, you know. My goal is to do more, and I think with a better contact list.
Yeah. So
I did not.
40, they asked John how many cakes he sent out this year or delivered, and his answer was 40. 40.
Wow.
About 50, some of those ain't gonna be in town, Georgia,
Mhm.
you know, you kind of count for that. So I try to hit all the A's and B's with that. So, but, you know, my first year I did over 10.
Yeah.
That's all I have really need to go to,
Mhm.
but,
He said his first year he did 10. This is the start of your third year?
yeah, this is the end of my third year.
End of his third year. He said his list of advocates is roughly right around 50.
I think the other day when you were talking about it, it made me more aware of going into those places that I go to a long time, because I get lazy, especially if I don't have myself together, I don't go in. But it's made me more aware of getting up and getting dressed today.
Oh, for
But
sure.
going into like the bank that I normally go through the drive-through every time, but to get face to face, you know what I mean, or the drive-through I had to go. But
Mhm.
some of those restaurants that I may go through, like Jason,
Mhm.
going in, so I'm building those, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and it's so wonderful because they see your face. It allows for a little bit of a longer conversation too, rather than like being held hostage by like a drive-through. Like especially, you know, I think about the sweet lady at Rayo's who makes my coffee every time. Like I will on purpose go in and speak with her, and she's just the sweetest person ever. And she always puts a smiley face on all the cups that she prepares, and I love that. It's just there's value to going in and letting them interact with you on a face-to-face level for
So
sure.
I'm focused on that because I've got really people in my family and just being around them, but stepping out of that because I'm friendly with them, but it's not, I don't step out of that, you know, and make myself.
Yeah, and I think too, like, you know, I know the Bridge City Group specifically, and Mont Bellevue is the same way, heavily involved in the communities that you guys are a part of. But I think, you know, taking it a step further and just being aware, like if you're going to an event or if you're out in the community or if you're in a parade, the goal is to try to talk with as many people as you can, not hug the wall and not huddle together with the people that you know already. Who can they introduce you to? Who do you want to get to know? And be proactive about that. Otherwise, you know, it's sort of a wasted hour where you had all of this opportunity in front of you to go out there and create new relationships and get people in a position where they can know you. Yeah. Okay, any questions, comments, anything that you guys feel like would be worth some further discussion?
I just love how this reminds us how basic all of this is. It goes back to our relationships, and we're classifying it on that, you know, these are the people who we have the closest relationships with, and because of that, they trust us and they know us, and they will in turn impact our business in a positive way. And that's what it's all about. It's not all about the new technology, and that's what we've just been preaching so much around. I know Charlie's been talking about that. We've been talking about it so much in our office, but it's about connecting with people. And when you get out and do that, you'll have success. You'll see success, and your business will flourish from it. So I love that everything I go and learn and listen to, it's just been reiterating that point over and over and over again, as it typically does whenever you put your mind on something. So
Yeah, the basics, the essentials, it really, and that's one of our, if you guys remember from Monday's class, that's one of our very big truths, that real estate is very basic. And it is, and Rita's absolutely right. I mean, at the end of the day, it boils down to those people that you want to be in a win-win relationship with, and the people who are there for you and who you can be there for as well. So, yay. Okay, if you guys do not get the sheet from me in your inbox, please let me know and I'll be able to forward it over. Okay, very good. I sent it right before we started for the people. So you guys came in probably after I sent it, so I'll forward it your way. But yeah, thank you guys for those of you who joined us on Zoom. I love it. It's so good, so fun. And if you'll have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.
thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
College should you go to? You're saying sure.
Lamar.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if you lived down